Hello, this is Molly Reamer with 30 Days of Goddess and Bridget's Grove with this week's mini ritual using Earth Runes, the 30 Days of Goddess Daily Practice Companion deck with an assist from the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle and the Oshun card from the Mother's Wisdom deck. And the Mother's Wisdom deck is one I've had for a long time, but I have not used for a number of years. When I was pregnant with my youngest son, who is now 9 and who will actually be 10 this year, oh my goodness, I took classes and certification programs in sacred pregnancy and sacred postpartum from Annie Dalter, and in those training programs we used the Mother's Wisdom deck a lot, and I pretty much haven't used it since then. But I was looking through some of my decks, my goddess-oriented decks for other cards that have Oshun, since this is our month of Oshun. And I came back across the Mother's Wisdom deck, so it's a little bit of a revisiting to me of that resource and that deck. So anyway, starting with our Earth Runes card for the week, we are already up to rune 21, the sunrise sunset. This is the rune of arising, of dawn, of dusk, of liminal spaces, of between times, of the rising spirits, possibilities, illuminations, new horizons, rhythms and cycles, warmth, care, and bearing witness. So this card reminds us to be present for what is arising, to be present for the cycles of change and growth and renewal in our lives, and to remember to step into the ceremony that's unfolding right outside our front doors, that sun that rises every morning, the sun that sets every night, these ceremonies that life weaves for us right outside our front doors, as well as being this rune of, I have another rune of liminal space, but this is too a rune of between times, of inhabiting the middle spaces and actively participating in the living practice of your life as it unfolds, participating in what's arising and being present for what's arising as it exists right now. So a really powerful rune with a lot to consider. And then our ritual, we received share. So may we share our delights, may we share our gifts, may we share our magic, may we share our hearts and stories with one another. And a practice, this is my favorite, so powerful. Put one hand on your heart and one on your belly and listen. Just listen. Listen to your own life's story. Listen to the messages from your own heart. Listen to what you already know. And then don't just listen, act on what you hear. We'll come back to the prayer as we close, and moving over to our card from the Believe in Your Own Magic deck by Amanda Lovelace, we got Garden. Something lovely will grow from this. So if you're in a time of transition or change, perhaps it might help to think that something lovely will grow from this. And so she writes that either we sit around and dwell on pain or we learn how to grow something lovely out of it. I would venture to say there's some other choices as well, but let's just go with this one. Ready or not, it's time for the next chapter of your life. Do the thing you feel you most need to do in order to aid your healing, even if it feels selfish. Sometimes we need to be a little selfish in order for it to work in the long run. This may mean you need to focus on yourself for now. You may need to tend to your own garden. And that reminds me of a quote, I believe from Sarah Ban Brethnick, that I used when I hurt my ankle the first time in 2019, which was, pain is a wretched gardener, but we can still learn from it. So I am not one of those people who thinks that we go through pain and suffering in order to teach us lessons. Like, I think sometimes things just happen. Sometimes we fall down, sometimes we hurt our ankles, sometimes we get sick, and sometimes those things just are. There is not a wider lesson or purpose necessarily to the things that happen to us. Sometimes things just happen. But I do think that we can usually learn from them. We can find a lesson there. So it's not like life throws us into a wretched garden in order to teach us something specific, but sometimes we find ourselves in the wretched garden, and in so finding ourselves there, we can learn a lesson from it, or we can make meaning of it. I think our lives are rich with meaning all the time, and we can make meaning from our experiences, and we can learn lessons from our experiences without falling into the trap of thinking that we deserve it, or that we've somehow attracted the painful experience into our lives. Sometimes painful experiences are just painful experiences, and we can learn and grow from them, but they're not necessarily happening to us in order specifically to teach us something. Sometimes they're just happening to us, and it's kind of up to us to see what we make of those things. And that's another one of those ways in which I diverge sometimes from other people who write and teach about spiritual topics, because I come from the perspective that sometimes things just happen. And the goddess, I believe, the sacred, is a web that is always with us. We always walk on sacred ground. We always walk in the palm of her hand, but she's not orchestrating things in order to punish us or even necessarily to teach us things. It's up to us on that walk across the palm of her hand to learn what we can from our life experiences without thinking that we deserve pain or suffering or failure, or even that we are somehow superior because we don't have the pain and suffering or failure that somebody else is experiencing. Okay, so sorry, little side note on there. These runes for me, and sometimes these divination videos, really bring up some of those things that for me are different than the things I hear repeated sometimes by other people who are in a similar field to me. And so sometimes it's awkward to state those things aloud because it's a point of divergence from what other people teach, but I feel like it's important to point those things out. I think that's my social work background coming into play. I trained in clinical social work, and I've worked in too many, my card blew away. I've worked in too many traumatic settings for me to think that people attract things to them. Sometimes things just happen, and I've worked in a lot of settings with people with a lot of trauma, and I do not feel like it is appropriate to to act like everybody's attracting their life experiences to them, because there's a lot. So anyway, moving on to Oshun from the Mother's Wisdom deck. And interestingly, Oshun here's the book, is the card of harmony with the shadow side of discord. And so they quote Alice Walker as saying, "Helped are those whose every act is a prayer for harmony in the universe, for they are the restorers of balance to our planet. To them will be given the insight that every good act done anywhere in the cosmos welcomes the life of an animal or a child." And so a lot of their stuff in this book connects to motherhood or parenthood, saying that parents conduct, and often particularly mothers, conduct the symphony of family life. Often everyone talks at once and runs in different directions. Cacophony reigns. How do you tune each instrument to sing with the others? There would be no music without dissonance. And so Oshun speaks to us of creating harmony by keeping things in balance. And so they tap back into the old story from Nigeria that there were 17 gods and one goddess. Oshun was the goddess sent to prepare the young and volatile earth for humans. The gods started working on it, but they left Oshun out. And what they learned is that they could not create harmony without her. So they begged her forgiveness and gave her their most precious gifts, thus restoring balance to the earth. And it was from Oshun's womb that sprang the first men and women and people on the earth. So through harmony, we experience love, pleasure, beauty, and joy, and we know we lack balance when these qualities elude us. What kind of harmony do you have in your life? Are you experiencing love, pleasure, beauty, and joy? If not, what feels out of harmony? What feels discordant or like it is not in tune? And so when we feel like maybe our wheels are spinning or our notes are out of harmony, Oshun can come to our aid. And so, what's your relationship like with harmony? Are you holding on to something that's limiting other areas in your life? Sometimes we need to let something go in the name of harmony. That is what Oshun counsels here, is that sometimes we need to let something go in the name of harmony. Okay, so ending with, this is good for harmony as well and letting things go. May I protect my time well and wisely. May I protect a quiet, peaceful place in my heart for the sacred to speak and for dreams to sing. May I protect space in my life for listening, for watching the world spin. And then one more closing thought from the Tiny Council of Goddesses deck that I created for our Goddess Magic patrons on Patreon. A reminder to us all. May I be as generous as Oshun, overflowing with love, ample with trust, and in devotion to my own life. So this week, may you be present with what is arising. May you share your story. May you share your truth. May you share your heart. May you share your magic with others. May you tap into the harmony within you and around you. May you tune in to what is in concert, in harmony, and what is out of harmony. And may you listen to those painful experiences in your life and tap into what you may possibly learn from those things. Thank you so much for being here. Keep living your magic. Bye-bye.